The New York Rangers definitely could be looking to add a center at this year's NHL trade deadline or at some point a little before that. So we're going to take a look at the Rangers' reported interest in Scott Laughton, the Philadelphia Flyer center, and this does make a decent amount of sense for the Rangers here, who definitely could use a pretty solid two-way center like Scott Laughton. He's a really good overall player. His all-around game is very solid, good offensively, good defensively, just an all-around great two-way center. I definitely think could be the perfect third-line guy for the Rangers to add in as well. Obviously, him being a part of the Philadelphia Flyers makes things a little more tricky there because he is a Flyer. He's on a division rival there, so that is a little kind of iffy there, but it definitely is a possibility that it could be moved. I mean, yes, the Flyers are in a pretty good spot right now. Obviously, a young team, more of a rebuilding kind of team that you would have thought coming into this season. They definitely have way exceeded expectations, so will they trade a guy like Scott Laughton? I don't know. I mean, we'll have to wait and see. Obviously, there's no rush for them to do so, as he does have 2 more years after this season under team control at $3 million cap hit, which is quite good for a guy of his caliber. So they're definitely not in a rush to move him at all because they are also a team competing for a playoff spot, but they definitely could be looking to kind of acquire a lot of solid pieces for a guy like Scott Laughton, whose value is really never going to get any higher than this, and he's not necessarily the youngest player in the world, so he doesn't perfectly fit their timeline. So this definitely is a possibility here that we could see Scott Laughton traded. Now, is it to the Rangers or is it somewhere else? We'll have to wait and see, but I definitely do think the Rangers should have interest in a guy like Scott Laughton if he truly does become available. So let's take a look here at his numbers so far in 2023-2024. He has 55 games played, 7 goals, 17 assists for 24 points. So not too bad overall. The numbers are pretty good offensively. But that's not the main thing about his game. I mean, offensively, he's a fine player. He can put up some decent numbers. But the main thing is his all-around and kind of overall game. He's a very physical player. He can fight. He can hit a bit. He'll block some shots. But he's also going to play some really good defensive hockey. He can be a good penalty killer as well. And just an all-around great center. He brings everything you want in a guy like this. And he's kind of one of those perfect kind of playoff guys, especially to have in your bottom 6 there, because he can, score a goal or make a nice play here or there, create some good offensive chances as well. But he's also going to play that really tough, kind of gritty role as well. He can hit, he can fight, like I said. He'll block some shots, do some stuff in the dirty areas. And he's also going to kill some penalties and play some great defensive hockey. And that is the one thing, or 2 things, that I really like about his game. I mean, defensively, he's going to help this team out a ton, and we definitely know that this team definitely could use some help in the defensive zone as well. But overall, as a player, he is really solid. I definitely think could make a pretty good impact on this team. And another thing that I really do like about Scott Laughton is the fact that most of his points so far this season have come at either 5-on-5 or shorthanded, which is obviously a very good sign. Because a guy like this coming to the Rangers, he's not going to get a whole lot of power play time. He might get some here and there, obviously, on that second power play unit and stuff like that, but he's not going to get a whole lot of ice time on the power play. So the fact that it only has 1 power play goal and 1 power play assist definitely is something to keep note of. I mean, 22 out of his 24 points have either come at even strength or shorthanded, so not too bad there. And he does have 5 shorthanded assists and 1 shorthanded goal so far this season as well. So offensively, on the penalty kill, he has gotten things done at 5-on-5. He's done a pretty good job there as well. So he has been a pretty good player so far this season, although he has been a little inconsistent. Still not a bad player at all, and he has had a few seasons now really showing that he can be a very, very good third-line center at the NHL level. But taking a look here at the Athletics article here from Kevin Kurz and Arthur Staple, kind of talking about the Rangers' interest in Scott Laughton. They say here, now reports have indicated the Rangers have interest in Flyers center Scott Laughton, the longtime Philly forward, who still has 2 years left on his contract at a very manageable $3 million cap hit, but could be moved to help facilitate the Flyers' retool. Even though the Flyers, against plenty of predictions, have been in playoff position all year long. And I completely agree with that. I mean, it makes sense either way. The Flyers can either, keep a guy like Scott Laughton who could be a great player for the next 2 seasons after this one as well at a very good cap hit of $3 million. I mean, for a guy like this who can put up 40, maybe even 50 points here and there as well, playing a really good overall two-way game, I think is definitely something to take note of for a guy like this. I mean, he's not necessarily the best offensive player, but for a guy who can put up these kind of numbers offensively and be an overall great kind of two-way center like this, play that really good, gritty kind of role, that tough role, I think goes a long way. And for $3 million, I think that is a great cap hit, especially when we know that the salary cap is going up by quite a bit this year, next year, the year after that. Like, it's going to go up a ton in the next couple of years. So having a guy like this on a $3 million cap hit is definitely pretty good. And I don't necessarily think he's going to be a 50-point guy, but I'm just saying that it is kind of like a somewhat of a possibility for a guy like Scott Laughton over the next couple of years to have a season where he gets quite close to 50 points. But taking a look here at another thing that they kind of talked about in this article, they said it would be wild to see a pretty major deal go down between the two teams that could easily meet in the first round of the playoffs. But if the Rangers have the need and the assets, it stands to reason the Flyers could take the best offer out there, even if it means seeing Laughton 4 times a year, obviously being on the Rangers now. So I completely agree with that as well. I mean, it definitely makes a lot of sense for the Flyers to, keep the guy and not trade him away. But this is truly the most value he's ever going to have. So if the Flyers do want to get the most value out of a guy like Laughton, who's still got 2 years left on a very good contract, who's in his prime right now, I mean, he's 29 years old. He's not going to get much better than this. This is kind of what the player he is. His value is only going to go down with his contract having less years on it and less time, obviously like that. So trading him right now at peak value is a pretty smart move for the Flyers, I think. Now, yes, he could be a great contributor for this year's playoff run, potentially for them, or next year's or in the future, whatever it is. But either way, he could be a very, very nice piece for any contending team to try and pick up. Anyways, though, guys, thank you so much for watching. If you have enjoyed, please smash the like button. Don't forget to comment down below your guys' thoughts on the Rangers potentially acquiring Scott Laughton in a trade, as well as subscribe for daily New York Rangers content. I'll catch you next one. See ya.